taller. And this is just so I can keep track of the time. 10 minutes start now. So when I was preparing for this, I was like, yeah, 10 minutes, okay. Oh, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this. Oh, well, I should talk about like my experiences of, like, yeah, Caitlyn Jenner's thing did pretty okay on ABC for Trans 101-ish. And, but the thing is, in America, we're like, oh, we're so intellectual, but we're actually very emotional creatures. And I was like, it took 25 minutes to tell the thing I was doing. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? And I was like, oh wait, I can art it. Not art, but do poems. So this first one is a poem that I wrote when I was first in China transitioning. Not the best idea I ever had. Emotionally, like financially, everything else, it was great. I'd already been there 2 years. And there was a spoken word there, ran by a trans woman. And this inspired me to write a poem when I had really bad acid reflux. And 2 times it won me a bottle of liquor. Once when I wrote it and once when I was leaving, and it was still relevant, and people were always like, hey, that kind of helped my emotional intelligence and mind intelligence kind of connect together so I could understand it in a short, condensed version. So hopefully this gets out of the way so I can talk about the second part. Okay, this is called If You Think About a Diamond. If you think about a diamond, one of the most precious of stones with all its facets, it seems no one can know the true depths of its soul. So akin are we to be mysterious to ourselves, always looking, questioning, and surprising. Akin to a diamond going through insurmountable pressure to form. So I have and continue to be pressed, being reborn. The tale starts at 7, or was it 8? Perhaps at 4 in my grandparents' daycare when I began to identify wearing a dress as my fate and stop myself from expressing these feelings before it was too late. Or perhaps the time when I was 12 on the bus pretending to be one of us. But I digress. I don't know the first, only that I decided to deceive myself for so long, for so well, that I had the whole world playing along. I hid behind games with virtual arenas, tried sports, and cursing and farting verbatim. I hid and used my aid to the DHD to distract myself from me, and eventually my sex engine started, you see. Her name was with a T that I will not name. And she looked like a beautiful boy with long, dark brown hair. On the other side of the gym she was, and then I started to have a buzz of desire, of emotion, of fire, my first crush. And the buzz kept working. My attraction was deep, a little too deep to be something of normal course. I wanted her long, flowing hair, her smaller figure, and it began to throw me into despair. How could I want to be with this girl and want to be her? I remember the Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde that made me think that boys became girls and had me wishing. So this built, this buzz, until masturbation was. Then things increased with confusion as I began to suffer of delusions of secret fantasies of an alternate life, all the while coming to the Lord and punishing myself. I had the darkest of thoughts and the deepest caves in the sea and decidedly pursued to keep myself busy. I raised $120,000 for a skate park. Music was one of my keys to keep on being me, and through stage and performance, I rediscovered a new persona that could withstand the world and hide myself well. The pain inside never subsided, however, and grew to immense pressure like Fukushima under the attacks of Mother Nature not having a way to release. I tried counselors galore. Mommy-daddy issues, check. Abandonment issues, check. Why isn't this working? What could it be? Learning to meditate and channel energy, check. Yet the pressure is rising and I can't deny it. Taking care of myself, check. Finding myself as an artist, check. No, it can't be that. That can't be. Solidifying my character and knowing where I stand, check. I can't accept this. There has to be a way out. An opening to China to teach that led me to an empty hollowing out of my being to help motivate. I'm dying inside and I don't think I can still hide. Now my health has digressed, and after some rest I returned broken, battered, and barely alive, picking up the pieces of something I contrived, a falsity, and telling one of my state, but then hiding another 8 months until it was almost too late. Saved only by love and able to love. Able to love myself because of another. Able to love myself because of embracing who I was, am, and always will be. Able to love myself because friends and family alike love me for making their lives bright. Able to love myself because now I feel whole and not splintered, wearing a mask that breaks with time. Able to love myself because I am worth it and love love. So now I'm here, still on my journey, and I apologize that 24 years took so long to express, but I still have an insurmountable task: to keep loving myself and not surviving, but thriving in the pressure. I've come so far and the pressure is great, and like a diamond, I am worth the wait.
Yeah.
In China, you clap to be polite. It started off as a joke, and now it's actually something that my brain tells me to do. So that backfired. So fast forward a year and a half, I got a bulk of my transition out of the way, and I didn't really date. I was kind of really closed into myself because China is really intense. Like I tell people, I got 15 years worth of life experience in 3.5. I got my PhD in life in China. And when I came back, I discovered that I had this thing called passing privilege that we say in the trans community. And passing privilege is this really shitty term that was invented by therapists, gatekeepers, and alike to make trans women invisible so that we don't talk to each other, we assimilate and don't have community, don't really connect and support each other, which luckily in the last 5 years or so has started to dissipate. Yeah. But don't have a term to replace this, so I use it as a tool to really help bolster, just like I use the term queer in a similar fashion. But so I started dating, and I have this thing called passing that helps me through my everyday life. But with dating, I have a lot of baggage, like anyone, tied to being vulnerable. And I had a lot of bad experiences. America had changed so much in 3.5 years. There were all these online dating apps, and I was like, oh, I'll get on there. And I was like, oh, I'll tell people before. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, I'll tell people right at the beginning of the day. That doesn't work. Oh, I'll tell them before we kiss and stuff, because I'm supposed to do that, and that didn't work either. And I had experiences with cis men, cis women, trans women, and I want to share a poem of the worst dating experience that I had to kind of sum up everything I was talking about in that emotional intelligence, intellectual intelligence. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get on this. It's called Husky Blue. I wrote it last night, so it's a little rough, so we'll just go with the flow, and I might edit as I talk. It started with a message, a click, a request, reviewing profiles and photos, trying to discern validity, all the while being excited, wondering if this could be the one that satisfies desires in new territories, where I can become confident and know my likings. So we decide to meet on uncommon ground and attend a restaurant of the same. Delicious food, wonderful drinks, and live music in full swing made it a romantic endeavor after just a few of the brew. He had a calm demeanor, a grin, and a mystery about him, and then I noticed his eyes. His eyes were a bright husky blue, calm and inviting and accepting. So after more than a few, the dinner for two set sights on an apartment for two. We grabbed some more wine, I showed him my tunes, then after some kissing, began engaged with the goal of exploring and undressing and showing, and it was all fine, and he tasted great. And his lips were delicate on my breasts, but then the liquor and wine infused with confusion. He was shattered by having created an illusion of expectations, although he already knew, but my body was something so new that he couldn't get hard, and boy, he fought to get hard. Mumbling how he had sex with a man and should be one with the band, that how could it be that I was born incorrectly? This continued after I tried to desperately change the channel of this confusion that trans women are men in dresses and then one is gay if they want to date, but he couldn't let it go, so it became too late. This thing called passing, helping me in my everyday life until now, had now cut the other way, leaving my entrails exposed in my most vulnerable state. With the boy with husky blue eyes that had made me feel so alive, now making me feel inadvertently like a freak because of his own misunderstandings of me. He continued to mutter, ashamed as he fell asleep. All the while I'm sobbing, trying to put myself back together, but it cut too deep. But I had to sleep. So the next day, I left it all, and it ended bittersweet. Sweet that I felt like a woman for just part of the night, and bitter because I was rejected when expectations were on the line. I know my story is not alone, for there are other trans women who pass alone in the world. It's a word and a system created to alienate, to make us hide, and ashamed to embrace our fate. So I write this as a light to show myself and my beauty outright, that I am a woman, and expectations aside, I deserve to be loved just like anyone else that claims the human race, and I'll use this term created to oppress as a way to express my limitless beauty inside, and have a tool so I don't have to hide. Although this experience hurt me and made me suffer, I thank the boy with the husky blue eyes. For in the end, I remembered how much I hate to date. To wrap it up in 10 seconds, I deleted all my apps, was like, fuck dating, and then responded to a random Facebook request after a Facebook diet and feeling better after a week, because I wasn't comparing myself to my friends. And now I have a lovely girlfriend that I'm in love with, and I'm inviting you with these stories, and then you can clap, because we have to get to the drinking at intermission, that hopefully all of these together will help your expectations intellectually and emotionally align, so that if you end up on a date with someone in the trans realm, whether trans woman, trans man, trans identified, you can be open to the experience to see if they're right for you and not miss out on an opportunity.
Yeah.